Welcome back, Film Force fans. His name is Jordan Wiltshire. Rumour has it, he lives in a pineapple under the sea. All we know for sure is he loves all things geek. And today he is...
ranking the top 5 superhero portrayals. And I'm joined today by my friend Mitchell Barrett.
Hi there.
You could be more enthusiastic than that.
I didn't know what to say.
Okay, let's try that again, okay?
Hi Jordan, thanks for having me on the show.
So, Mitch, you put together a list of the 5 superhero portrayals in films, and this is for the actors who we think have done the best to represent an iconic character. Okay, I've also put together my 5 and we're going to see how ours compare.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start at number 5. Would you consider the 5th best portrayal of a superhero on screen?
For me, number 5 is going to be Spider-Man, played by Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
And I'm willing to bet that didn't make it in your top 5, even your top 10.
He wouldn't even been in my top 20.
Yeah.
Tom Holland almost made my top 5. But
see, I think he was very good, but personally, I watched those Spider-Man films when they came out back in the early 2000s, 1, 2, and 3. Even though we don't mention the scene in the third one, with the hair and the dancing, we never talk about that.
You mean emo Spider-Man?
I do, the emo Spider-Man. But those 3 films for me were the introduction to Spider-Man, so they're my Spider-Man. And so Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man. He's not the most charismatic Spider-Man out there, but you had all the love scenes, all the action, his development, the whole Uncle Ben thing, and for me, he really kind of encapsulated that as a character and really kind of brought it to the screen.
Yeah, I can definitely see.
And for me, that's why he's my top 5.
I can definitely see that. For me, Tobey Maguire is the 3rd best Spider-Man. Okay.
There's only been 3.
Yeah, he's the 3rd best. Okay. Okay. No, to be fair, there's been 4. There was a TV movie that was rubbish. So to me, he's not Spider-Man. He's too old. He just doesn't have that teenager view, and he doesn't have the quips of Spider-Man. So that's why, for my personal opinion, he doesn't encapsulate the character. But I can totally see where you're coming from. So that is your number 5. So my number 5 my number 5 won't be on your list either. I don't think. I think you might have another person who played this character, but my number 5 is Ben Affleck, who played Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he is the best portrayal of both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Because Michael Keaton was a great Bruce Wayne and Christian Bale was a great Batman, but neither of them managed to encapsulate the other side as well as they did one half. I think Ben Affleck, who was managed to portray a great broken down Bruce Wayne and then a great sort of broken down and then eventually rejuvenated Batman, from the broken down in Batman vs Superman when he comes back into the fight to a rejuvenated Batman wanting to bring justice to the world in Justice League. No matter how good Justice League film is, I still think Ben Affleck was a great part of that. Was one of the best parts of it, along with Gal Gadot.
I can see that, actually. No, I do get where you come. No, he didn't make mine at all.
Do you bleed? You will.
I certainly did enjoy his Batman.
And just
Michael Keaton's one, that was back in the 80s, wasn't it? Yeah. Actually, no, I completely see it. I do like Ben Affleck's Batman, but I'm just not a fan of the DC universe. It's all very dark and very hushed and
but
so much blue and orange.
The thing with that, Batman is meant to be dark. It's the other ones that have an issue.
It is, you're right. But because I saw those first, that's what I think it should be like.
Yeah.
So yes, but I do know where you come from. I almost agree with you there.
So what is your number 4?
Coming at number 4, it's Magneto, played by Michael Fassbender.
I'd like you to know that I agree with every word you said.
Oh, I didn't put either either of the Magnetos or either of the Professor X's on my list.
Really? No. Well, there's a significant points to this. So Magneto, played by Ian McKellen, and Professor X by Patrick Stewart. Obviously, they are iconic. They are those characters. However, I don't feel like they put enough into the characters. I feel like because they're such close friends in real life, they had a really great dynamic on screen. But I feel like that's cheating.
Fuck off, Logan.
Because they just brought their real life onto the screen, which absolutely made for an amazing screen performance, and their relationship through all the films is brilliant. But there's just a niggle in the back of my head that says it doesn't really count. You
could say the same about Fassbender and McAvoy. They have that friendship as well off screen.
They do, but it's not as publicly televised. So I only found out about their relationship after maybe even the second film came out. Yeah, so for me it's Michael Fassbender. Not so much in First Class, but mainly from Apocalypse. Now, I know that film was a bit of a bomb and it got pretty low reviews. I think it was okay. I enjoyed it. I think I saw it twice in the cinema. It was alright, as an X-Men film goes.
Well, at least we can all agree the third one's always the worst.
But I think his character development in that really kind of stepped up a gear, and so did his portrayal of Magneto. The whole thing with him moving to Eastern Europe somewhere, I forgot where it was, and having a life there, and a wife and a child and a job, and then saving a co-worker and his battle between that, and then the thing with the policeman, and then losing his family. Obviously, Michael Fassbender is such a huge actor, but I felt like when I was watching X-Men Apocalypse, I wasn't watching him, I was watching the character. And that's really how I kind of rate them at this point. It's, am I that involved with the character that I no longer see them as the actor, but as the character? That's kind of the fourth wall being up. And for me in that film, he absolutely fucking nailed it. Just nailed it.
I think the reason why I didn't put Michael Fassbender on this list is because both Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender did such a great job. This is the top 5 superhero portrayals who really showed that only they could play the character, and who really envisioned the character. And for me, I could see either of them and not play the character, and I could see other people to play that character because there was a lot to do with that character. Where some of these other characters, there's only so much, and people really took that on board and made a great character. So for me, that's why I didn't put either Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender on my list.
I can see that, yeah.
I was fine when they recast it. Like, if they recast some of these other people, I wouldn't be so fine.
Who's your number 4? Yeah.
So my number 4 probably also won't be on your list. It was sort of I had to put her because I didn't think she was going to do great, and she was amazing. It was Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
She was amazing in Wonder Woman and had a great introduction in Batman vs Superman. You could even say one of the best parts. And then in Wonder Woman, she managed to portray a naivety, a sort of a leadership quality, and also just like, no, this is what I'm going to do because this is what's right. And she didn't need to, you didn't question why she wasn't listening to people who lived in that world. You just understood she was doing what she thought was right and what she needed to do. Like in that No Man's Land scene when she was walked up in the trenches and they said, no, that is no man's land. We can't help these people. We need to stop the main villain. And she was like, no, this is my duty. I'm here I can do something. I thought that she encapsulated Wonder Woman, and she looks the part as well. And I just hope they do Wonder Woman 2. They say they're going to, but with everything that's happening with DCEU, that could not be possible. But I completely understand why you might not have put her on the list, considering you're not the biggest fan of the DC films.
She would be in my top 10, but because I'm not a massive DC fan, she didn't make my top 5.
You should be ashamed.
My apologies.
You should be ashamed.
Diana.
All of you should be ashamed.
Okay, so what is your number 3?
Number 3 is Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange.
Oh, I didn't even think of him. Okay. Why did you put him?
Why did I put him? I kind of forgot I forgot about him. I forgot about the whole Doctor Strange film.
Mr. Strange.
Doctor, actually.
And I saw it on my computer. And I absolutely love that film. I really do. It's quite high up my rankings of Marvel films of all time. I think it's really fresh. It's a new look on the Marvel universe. Obviously, it all still ties in quite well. Completely different characters, completely different powers and abilities. It introduces magic to it. But anyway, to the point. Benedict Cumberbatch. Again, he's a huge actor. I've seen him in so much stuff. So when you first start watching the film, when he's the whole doctor in the hospital, it's normal Benedict Cumberbatch. He's being himself and it's fantastic. We love it. And then he has the whole accident and he gets his powers. I can't quite pinpoint it, but again, at some point, the fourth wall went up, and I completely forgot I was watching Benedict Cumberbatch, and suddenly it was Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he definitely does take on that character.
Just amazingly well. For whatever reason, he just vibes with Doctor Strange so much, and he really pulls you in. I was so invested in that film. Absolutely, I couldn't stop watching it. I was really invested in the whole film, start to finish.
Okay, so no, I wasn't expecting that to be on the list, but that's good. It shows everyone, all films sort of hit people in different ways. So my number 3, I'm hoping will be on your list. Which is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Captain Deadpool. No, just Deadpool, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool was an amazing cast. He was, when he first appeared in X-Men Origins, he showed his love of the character, and then unfortunately they sewed his mouth shut. But he championed that character and he championed that film to get made, and it was thanks to him that it got made in a way, him and Tim Miller. And he just took that character to a whole new level. He made sure they faithfully adapted it on screen with the fourth wall breaking, the swearing, the R-rated.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
Championed this character and really becoming it, and that's why he has to be in the top 5 superhero portrayals of all time, because he is Deadpool.
100%. He's my number 2. He was my very next one, and I agree with every point you just made. 100%. Absolutely. He is the character. There's no one else it could have ever been. He's it, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. So, what do you have anything else to add to why he's on your list higher than me?
I was thinking about that while you were talking, and I don't think so. He put in so much work. The film came out amazing. The characters, the fight scenes, everything. In terms of the film, we would have liked more X-Men, but I guess there are budget restrictions. Just having 2 felt a bit. The mansion was a little bit empty.
Yeah,
but we get that.
I'm gonna wait out here, okay? It's a big house. It's funny that I only ever see 2 of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Men.
But they worked with that, and they made it a better film. I think because of the budget restrictions, they could have the fourth wall breaking jokes.
They could, and they added a lot of much needed humour to films these days. Fantastic. Yeah, he's definitely my number 2.
So
absolutely.
Okay, then moving on to my number 2, it is Rorschach, played by Jackie Earle Haley from Watchmen.
Yeah.
Have you seen Watchmen?
Absolutely. He's in my top 10. I'm looking at it now, and I scrubbed him off my list to just make it top 5. He would have been my top 10.
His performance as Rorschach, you could argue the 2 best performances in that was him as Rorschach and Billy Crudup as Dr. Manhattan. Okay? But him as Rorschach, he became that character. I couldn't see him as anything else but that character. He even looked, mad. He looked like he'd been on the streets. His face worked for that type of character. And the way some actors might be a bit, annoyed at having to cover their face for most of the film, he took it on. You have heard those stories of Sylvester Stallone when he played Dredd. He was like, no, the mask must come off. That's why Carl Urban almost made my list as well for playing Dredd. But
yes, in the latest one.
Yeah, but with Jackie Earle Haley, he took this character to a whole new level and really showed what Rorschach is like from the comic books. He was basically taken from the page and put on screen. It was a great adaptation of a character.
I entirely agree. I didn't read the comics, so I can't make that comparison. But he was in my top 10, and it's a sensational character, a sensational performance, absolutely flawless, even down to the death at the end.
Yeah,
he was just roaring for it, and just. I'm trying to think of a like-for-like performance for another character. I don't think I can, because it's such a unique character, and he absolutely fucking nailed it, didn't he?
Yeah, because he became Rorschach. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was wearing that mask around when he off screen. He literally became that character.
What do you see?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of method acting in there.
So
I think in years to come, when people reference Rorschach from anything, it'll have his face somewhere.
I see. I could not see because they're meant to be doing Watchmen as a TV series now, and I can't see anyone but Jackie Earle Haley playing Rorschach. That's why he is number 2 of the top superhero portrayals of all time.
Yeah, completely agree.
So what is your... So we've got on your number 2. What is your number 1? The top superhero portrayal of all time.
For me, it has to be Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.
I so thought you were going to do someone else. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I can't believe this guy that is my number 1 is not even on your list.
He may have been in my top 10.
Iron Man is in my number 6. I thought about it. I thought, but it comes to that plate for me. Robert Downey Jr. Yes, he's Iron Man, but I think it's another character that I could see. A few other people that I heard might have been cast as him. I could still have been happy with them playing him. But yes, he has done great with the character, and he is Iron Man.
I'll admit I'm a little bit biased because Iron Man, the original movie 2008, was my childhood dream. I wanted a super suit, and then Robert Downey Jr. came along and just smashed that role. And again in Iron Man 2, and then the Avengers and 3 and everything else that followed. I think that it's because the lines are so blurred. It's the classic playboy philanthropist billionaire. Who is who? Is it Robert? Is it Tony? Because the lines are so blurred these days, I think it just adds so much more magic to it for me personally. But again, that is just my personal opinion, and I am quite biased towards him and the film. I really like him as an actor. So when my favourite actor did my favourite film, just the combination blew my mind. So for me, that's why he's at the top.
It's moments like these when I realize what a superhero I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
And definitely some of the acting, especially in the Captain America Civil War, some of his scenes in that, especially the fight between him and Bucky and Captain America, where he's like, I'm your friend, why are you protecting? Some of the facial expressions he does with that scene are great, and yes, he definitely is a great superhero portrayal.
Well, he's an amazing actor as well, so really he could have played any part and he would have smashed it again.
I think what sort of made me not put him on the list is because, as some people joke, he is Tony Stark in real life.
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know that's the point that I made for Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, that that it almost doesn't count because they're playing themselves. But for me, again, I'm biased. I just love him so much. That's why he's my number 1. But these are opinion rankings.
Yeah, definitely.
So that for me, that's why I feel like I can kind of break my own rule there and put him at the top.
I'm so surprised that this person who's my number 1 is not on your list.
Go fuck yourself.
You can probably
guess who Hugh Jackman Wolverine?
It is Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Yeah.
Now, some people might say, is he really one of the top superhero portrayals of all time because he's a completely different Wolverine from the comics? Because Wolverine in the comics is a short, stocky Canadian, But he might not look like the Wolverine from the comics, but man, does he show that berserker rage. Man, does he act like the character from the comics. He is the longest... Hugh Jackman has played a superhero character for the longest in movies. He first starred in the 2000s in X-Men, and he only just did his last film in 2017 in Logan. And there's now rumours that he might even come back now that Fox has been bought by Marvel.
There are, yeah.
And I just think, considering he's been in, I can't even think how many films. And what was so great about it, each film, he was slightly different because of character development or the time where he was. He wasn't playing the same character in each film in a way. Logan is probably the best superhero acting I've ever seen. Him and Professor X in that should both get an Oscar, both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman, for some of those scenes they did in that, especially the first scene in the fallout shelter or whatever that room was, where Wolverine was caring for Professor X. And then just the berserker rage at the end of Logan. He really showed he could play Wolverine.
I agree entirely with everything you just said. Yeah.
Then why isn't he on your list?
He's in my top 10. But he didn't make the cut to top 5, no.
You're a dick.
He is Wolverine. Absolutely. He'll go down in history. If anybody remakes this in 100 years' time, it will be, okay, here's what Hugh Jackman did with Wolverine, because he is everything. No, he doesn't look like Wolverine in the comics, but you're right, he's the persona, he's the embodiment of the character.
He doesn't, I could not, right now, if they said, okay, Marvel has bought Fox, we're recasting all the X-Men characters, this guy's playing Wolverine, I'll be like, no, I don't want Wolverine on screen anymore, unless it's played by Hugh Jackman, at least for another 20, 30 years. Because
100%.
He showed, this is the character, I don't care if it's not like the comics, I am Wolverine, and this is how it's done. And he showed it in so many different films.
Yeah, I don't think he's done a bum film as Wolverine. I know some of the films have been kind of flops, but as the character, he's only ever shot.
No, he's portrayed the character perfectly. The films he's been in might not have been great, but he's portrayed the character brilliantly.
And that's almost why he didn't make it into my top 5. Because he's only really had one role for the last 20 years. And while he has absolutely nailed it, it's almost like he did it too easily, kind of breezed through.
What?
And he's had 20 years to do it in.
But But how many other actors can you say have earned the right to 20 years of that role? Okay, if you think, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, 3 films, rebooted. Okay, Batman, we've had 2 Batmans in the last 10 years. We're probably going to get another one in the next 2 years at this rate. Superman, we went from Christopher Reeve in the 70s, 80s, then Brandon Routh, and then Henry Cavill. And right now I could make arguments for all of them, maybe slightly not Brandon Routh, but even all of them to be, they were all good Superman. Whereas right now, Hugh Jackman is the only person who played Wolverine on screen in film. He completely took that character and made it his own and earned the right to that many years as Wolverine.
And I agree with you there. You're absolutely right. But there is just a little bit that just tells me they weren't going to recast him during X-Men 1, X2 and X-Men 3. So the originals around about 2000 to early 2000s, they weren't going to recast during that period.
So you were always an asshole.
But they could have easily, originally they were going to recast Wolverine after First Class happened. Matthew Vaughn said to the studios, okay, I'm going to go make Kingsman. You guys go make another X-Men film with this cast, recast Wolverine, and then I'll come back and do X-Men Days of Future Past with a younger with Hugh Jackman and younger Wolverine, and do it like that. And they were like, nah, we'll just do whole Hugh Jackman all the time. Because he had earned the right.
That was after. You're right. Because that's after we fell in love with him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They could have easily recast him. We fell in love with Tobey Maguire. They still recast him, and I found Andrew Garfield better. They found a better person.
Oh, no.
And then I found Tom Holland.
No.
Oh, Andrew Garfield was a way better Spider-Man, but that's another video.
It's Tobey Maguire, it's Tom Holland, it's Andrew Garfield.
No.
It's down there.
Look online. Yeah. We'll have another argument later. So
absolutely, you're wrong.
So thank you very much, Mitch. Okay. So I think we only agreed on one character on our top 5, but it doesn't matter. I completely respect your list, and hopefully you can understand my list as well. So thank you very much. Okay, and hopefully you'll come on again. And I hope for everyone watching this, you agreed with ours, or maybe you didn't. Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, do hit that like button or head down to the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for the latest videos. May the Force be with you.